Ben Rice could be an additional really good power bat in the middle of your lineup. Combine that with bringing Cody Bellinger back. If you get the same or close to the same production out of Trent Grisham, you're now forming a really good lineup and something that the Yankees think that they have.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the country. I'm Stacey Gotsulias alongside my co-host Ryan McKeon. We'd like to thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. Brian, it's Thursday, February 5th. This week is going by fast now that we're going 5 days a week again.
Closer and closer to Super Bowl Sunday. Can't wait.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? How about Framber Valdez heading to the Tigers on the same day that Tarek Skubal got finished with arbitration with the Tigers? That's something interesting. So we'll discuss that in segment 3. There are 3 Yankee players who could have better 2026 seasons, but there is one in particular who could be the X factor. Brian, why don't we tell everyone who we think the Yankees X factor for 2026 is?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I think the X factor for the Yankees is Ben Rice going into this year. And there's no reasonable explanation for why he can't be better than what he was in his rookie season. Now, I know he was called up in 2024. He played 50 games, but last year was his true rookie season. And I'll tell you, he is their X factor going into next year. Ben Rice is the X factor for the Yankees in 2026. If he can move into the player that we think he can become, right, where his average stays right about the same, but he gives you 30 home runs. He gives you 80, 90 RBIs. He slugs the way that he's been slugging. Ben Rice could be an additional really good power bat in the middle of your lineup. Combine that with bringing Cody Bellinger back. If you get the same or close to the same production out of Trent Grisham, you're now forming a really good lineup and something that the Yankees think that they have. It kind of gives you more reason and explanation for why they're standing pat. They're also expecting some of the younger players to get better going into 2026.
Speaking of that, as you were talking, I was thinking about this. I think Ben Rice offensively is what they were hoping to get from Austin Wells last season.
That's a really good point. And Austin Wells never really got to the point where I think that they thought that he was going to get to, especially with the way that he closed out his 2024. Remember, Austin Wells closed out 2024 on kind of an uptick. Yeah. Where everyone thought going into 2025, he's your starting catcher. I mean, he led off opening day. So there was such high expectations around Austin Wells. And I think the Yankees have been careful with that this offseason so far. There hasn't been a lot of Ben Rice talk. There was a lot of Austin Wells talk in the offseason last year.
Yeah.
They've kept it very quiet on the Ben Rice front. Ben Rice has, I think, probably been working on his game a lot. That's why I have a lot of confidence in Ben Rice, too. He's one of those guys that he's proven to you that he will work on his game in the offseason. He will get better. Remember, 2024 to 2025 puts on 10 pounds of muscle, comes back and is a different player.
Yeah.
And cut down on the strikeouts, got into the film room more. There's a lot to like about Ben Rice's game, especially from the hitting perspective. And we've talked about from 2024 to 2025, the loss they were going to have by losing Juan Soto and how are you possibly going to replace that kind of production? If Ben Rice becomes the superstar they think he can become, combine that with Bellinger's numbers, you're getting more production than you were with Juan Soto. So right. I think they've got a lot of faith in Ben Rice, but I think they're carefully avoiding not making the mistake that they made with Austin Wells, talking him up all season.
Right. I think the impressive thing is, 2024 was up and down for him because, again, it was only 50 games, 171 average. The OBP was below 265. Like it was right around 265. And then he comes in 2025. And it's not just that he played 138 games, hit 255, had the 26 home runs, the 65 runs batted in. He didn't know from day to day what position he was going to play. For the most part.
Impressive. And he's going to know in 2026. He's going to primarily be their first baseman. That's a benefit too. Also, combine 2025 also with the fact that he's catching a good amount of time in there too. So he's playing a lot of first base. He's also catching a lot where there's a lot that goes into being a catcher, Stacey. Like you have to prepare with your starter that day. If you look through the bullpen of who's possibly going to be coming in, like there's a lot that goes into catching also. So it's a lot more difficult to get your preparation in And again, we've learned that Ben Rice is clearly preparation is a huge part of his game. So I think that's also a thing too. It's very tough to get yourself going as a catcher every day.
Right. He improved in pretty much every facet of the game, especially his K rate, because he went from 27% to 18.9. That's a good drop.
That's a huge drop off, and it's exactly what you want to see, especially a guy with Ben Rice's body frame and the power bat that he is. You're a little afraid sometimes with guys like that. They become a little easier to pitch to. You change up the eye level a little bit, and those guys tend to get a little swing happy too, especially when you're a power hitter like that.
Right.
So your strikeout percentage to under 20%, under 19%.
Yeah.
Hit that low. And in 1 year to lower it 9%, that's a huge jump. So again, got to be really proud of that. He's one of their, I mean, he's a main part of their offense going into next year. He's become that.
Right. So this is an interesting stat, and I want to discuss this for a sec. Last year, he became one of 12 players since 2015 to rank 90th percentile or better in hard hit rate and rank in the 60th percentile or better in strikeout rate. The hard hit rate, let's talk about that, because there are a lot of times last year on social media where people will take or would take the baseball savant pictures, like the ranges, and say, guess who this is? And there was one guy where like everything was basically in red where you want it to be. And it was Ben Rice, because some people were like, wow, like Ben Rice is just, these numbers are unbelievable.
We've made this observation a lot too with Austin Wells, it feels like, where these guys hit the ball on the nose and just hit the crap out of the ball, and it winds up getting hit to an outfielder. We've seen that a lot, but Ben Rice in particular, numbers don't lie here. I think that number is a little more impressive too with where he plays. Playing in Yankee Stadium, having a hard hit rate, that's also really impressive too, because a lot more of those balls are going to go over the wall when they're hard hit, in Yankee Stadium with a shorter porch and you're a lefty. So I think that's a big deal too. That stat may sound a little nerdy to you, but read off this addition to the stat of what the players are, the other 11 players. So again, let me clear this up first. He became one of 12 players since 2015, so that's a 10-year sample size, to rank 90th percentile or better in hard hit rate and rank 60th percentile or better in strikeout rate. Stacey, tell me about the other 11 guys.
The other 11 players who have done that since 2015 have been All-Stars, MVP, and have since been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Not bad.
Not a bad group of players to be listed with. So I think that stat might be a little too nerdy for some of you out there, and I get it. But when you take what kind of players do the things that are done right there, that's a really good group for Ben Rice to be a part of.
Is one of them Aaron Judge?
I'm assuming, yeah.
Yeah.
The MVP thing and the All-Star thing. And the future
I'm assuming Aaron Judge. I'm assuming Giancarlo Stanton, possibly.
I would love to find, MVP and All-Star fit Stanton too. I would love to find that I don't have the exact list, and I should have got that. It's in the last decade, so I feel like we could figure that out. Mike Trout, I'm sure, is one of the guys on there. We can figure it out. Bryce Harper, I'm sure, is one of them on there. But regardless, it's a really good list of players to be included.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just impressed with the rebound that he made from the first year. And I said it on the show that I expected him to do better. He got that 50-game stint under his belt. So he got the experience, before he was supposed to. And he really, I remember when he came back and everyone was like, wow, he's bigger. Like, wow, you can tell he put some muscle on.
Yeah, I mean, again, he is their X factor going into 2026. He makes their team significantly better if he improves upon what he did. Again, let's go over this again. In 50 games in 2024, he has a negative .4 WAR, 171 batting average, 264 on base percentage, 7 homers, 23 RBIs. Here's another key statistic: a 613 OPS for Ben Rice in year one. Again, it's a small sample size, but he comes back in 2025, puts on the 10 pounds of muscle. 138 games played, 2.3 WAR, 255 batting average, 337 on base, 26 homers, 65 ribbies, and an 836 OPS, Stacey. He becomes an above average player last year, lowers the K rate by 9%. He's under 20% when it comes to the K rate. Again, one of 12 players to be in a certain percentile, and the other 11 guys are Hall of Famers, All-Stars, or MVPs. So he's put himself in a really good class of player. And if you look at the numbers that he had last year in 2025, if he only improves a little bit, Stacey, say he gets to 30 home runs, say he gets to 80 RBIs, that becomes a really effective player in the middle of this lineup that they've been searching for since they lost Juan Soto. So I think there's a lot of, you can sit here and listen to all the complaints the Yankee fans make that they haven't added to the roster. They haven't gotten better. Maybe the Yankees' plan all along is their talent they have in-house is going to get better and going to improve. And if they believe that in Ben Rice, based on the evidence and the improvements he made from 2024 to 2025, if he makes similar improvements and similar strides from 2025 to 2026, that could be like getting a brand new player.
Right. Right. And we haven't even gotten into the possibility that maybe Austin Wells also rebounds, and, not to where he hits like 40 home runs, but if Austin Wells has a solid year, if Ben Rice has a similar year to what he had in 2025, but improves just slightly, just those two players alone could really make a big difference in that lineup.
And there's another guy we're going to talk about in the next segment that I think you should expect better things out of him also, and Ryan McMahon in third base. So there's a lot of reasons to have faith that they're going to get better just because the guys on their roster are going to have better years.
Right. Right. All right. Like Brian said, coming up next, we're going to talk about two more players who you should look at to improve in 2026.
Guys, tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert from start to finish without the stress or the guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out the forms, you can meet with the local TurboTax expert in person or connect with them online, and they handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get every single deduction possible for you. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling all of your work. Now, for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150, all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just make sure that you file before February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. We want to thank you guys for making Locked On Yankees your first listen of the day and for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Are you not in the Everydayer Club? You are missing out. Get ad-free episodes on every single major podcasting app. That's Apple, Spotify, whichever one that you use. You'll also get access to our members-only Everydayer Club Discord. It's just for Locked On Yankees listeners, where we drop breaking news, tease upcoming shows, and talk through games in real time, complaining and celebrating all things Yankee fans are doing throughout the games. Plus, you can score exclusive discounts on Locked On merch and get 60% off additional Everydayer Club subscriptions for your other favorite New York teams. Join now at lockedonyankees.supercast.com. If you're watching on YouTube, you can click on that fancy little QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen. That'll connect you to the link. And if you're not going to use all those options, you can also go to our show notes where there is a link as well to get involved with the Everydayer Club. Stacey's not wearing it right now. But if you want to check out the Locked On Yankees merch, here's a good reason to go to some of our other episodes where Stacey is wearing a Locked On Yankees t-shirt. You can get it in blue, Yankee blue, white, gray, black, whatever color you prefer.
You can do red if you want to be daring.
Yeah, it's a little weird, not going to lie. But, I do think it's a fun kind of game to play if you go to a road game at Fenway and you wear a red shirt that says Yankees on it. Yeah. That, I think, is a fun move. Bold, but fun. I think I would enjoy that, actually.
Yeah, that could be fun.
So if you had to, let me ask you this question just straight out at the top of this segment. What did you think of Ryan McMahon as a Yankee last year?
I thought he was fine. Loved his defense. The defense was so great. Like, it's really nice seeing someone who can actually play third base. They
upgraded on that for certain.
Yeah. Yeah. And, he hit one out every once in a while. He got a big hit every once in a while, which, for the, I guess, ninth player on the team, you're not expecting Ryan McMahon to be your fourth hitter. You're expecting him to be at the bottom of the lineup and just like show up and play. He was fine.
I'd agree. And that's the best way to put it, I think. Fine. He wasn't a superstar. He wasn't even an all-star, but he was a fine player. Again, short up the defense at third base. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But that could improve. But there's a lot of reasons to believe that Ryan McMahon's going to give you more in 2026 than he did in 2025. We've talked about this a lot, and I probably am going to sound like a broken record at this point, but it's worth noting. these guys are real people. They're moving across the country. Ryan McMahon spent from 2017 to 2025 at the trade deadline, his whole career in Colorado. I don't know if he's married or anything, or I don't know if he has a family. I haven't looked into his personal life that much, but if he does, he's got a house, he's got a living situation in Colorado. He has to pick up all those things and move to New York City, which is a very different way of living than it is in Colorado, I'm sure, and find an apartment, find a house, deal with New York traffic. Trust me, the traffic is very different in Denver than it is in New York. There's a lot of things that he has to change the way that he lives his life. And I think it's a lot easier to go from somewhere like New York to Colorado where things slow down a little bit, as opposed from Colorado to New York where things in your life are going to speed up a lot of it. So that changes things a lot. Now he's had a full off season. He's had a full winter. He's had a full, he'll have a full spring training camp with the Yankees at their facility.
He also had playoff experience. He had a playoff experience. He had 2 playoff rounds that he played through.
So there's a lot going into this that he got from 2025 with the Yankees, and now he's going into it kind of with a fresh start. He's going to be with the Yankees for opening day. That means a lot, knowing that third base is his position here. Now, I will say this. Last year, he had a 2.3 WAR, which is pretty good. That was between Colorado and New York. So that was 2.3 between both places. Since 2019, Stacey, the Yankees' third base WAR has been 1.9, which is horrendous. So if Ryan McMahon is bad, his WAR is still 0.4 better than what the Yankees have produced at third base in the last 5 years.
Right.
But if you go even further than that, look at his past WARs and his careers with Colorado. Now we can use early on in his career. His rookie year is really 2019 when he plays full-time. He plays 141 games. His WAR is 1.9. The next year, the COVID year, he plays 52 games. He has a 0.5 WAR. His career really gets going where he becomes the player that he is in 2021. He's got a 4 WAR in that year at 151 games played. Next year, 153 games played. He's got a 3.2 WAR. The next year, 152 games played, a 2.9 WAR. The next year, 153 games, a 2.5 WAR. If he has a bad year to his standards, it's still significantly better than what the Yankees have been putting out there at third base in the last half decade. Plus, and this is a very big key, and it's a lot more than what the Yankees have been getting in the last half decade, he plays every day. Yeah. The guy doesn't get hurt, Stacey. I mean, look at the game numbers. He misses 8 games in the COVID year, but other than that, 141, 151, 153, 152, 154, and then last year 154. He plays every single day. That is a huge plus. I mean, talk about how frustrated we get as a collective fan base over players that get injured pretty often, Stacey. He's not one of those guys. He's out there every single day playing a platinum glove level defense. There's value to that. And again, we discussed it too. There is pop in his bat. I know he came from Colorado, but you're talking 24 homers, 9 in the COVID year, but 23, 20, 23, 20, 20. He does have pop in his bat. And these other years too, the RBI totals too. 83, 26 in the COVID year, 86, 67, 70, 65, 53. His numbers are basically what Ben Rice gave you last year. If he can do that as a lefty bat in Yankee Stadium, and even if the average isn't great, if he's in it, if let me ask you this. If Ryan McMahon next year gives you 18 homers and 58 RBIs, but he hits 210, do you take that?
Yeah,
I think you do. I think you do.
if he plays elite defense, yes.
Which I think is kind of a guarantee at this point. Like, the guy doesn't make any errors. He's a platinum glove contender every single year. He's going to give you good
because
defense
he's saving you runs by playing good defense.
Yeah, and if he's going to contribute with 60 runs a year and give you 20-something home runs, and again, that's not a crazy assumption to have with him playing in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. He
also, again, does have, with those, nerdy analytics. I do like to follow them because whether you guys like it or not, and again, I'm not a end-all be-all when it comes to the analytics, but whether the listeners of our show and whether the national media and whether the guests that we have on or whether the two of us like it or not, this is how the Yankees evaluate their players. Like, when it came to getting Ryan McMahon, this statistic was important in their evaluation and their analysis on calling up Colorado and saying, hey, what do you want for him? He's got one of the hardest hit rates in the league. He hits the ball really hard, and he does strike out a lot, granted, but he hits the ball really hard. Those numbers benefit when you play in Yankee Stadium with a short lefty porch. That stadium does benefit left-handers. So I think there's a lot there to that. There's a lot to say about Ryan McMahon. Again, you're not going to get a guy that's going to – I don't think he's got Ben Rice potential. where he's going to give you 30 and 80. I don't think he's that kind of player. But if he gives you 20 and 60 with the kind of defense they can give you, I think you sign for that. So there's a good chance that even if he has a bad year and gives you a 2 WAR, it's still better than what you've gotten over the last 5 years.
Yep, I would agree with that. I'm looking forward to seeing what a full year of Ryan McMahon will bring.
Yeah, a consistent elite level third baseman. And for all the Yankee fans about a year ago, and we did a lot of episodes on this, saying, what are the odds that they can get Nolan Arenado? Can you get Nolan Arenado out of St. Louis? How much better of a move is it that they got Ryan McMahon over Nolan Arenado? I mean, Arenado's falling off a cliff. You're not paying Arenado that money. The statistics are not the same as what they were. The name is one thing, but the player is not the same. So I think, you're going to love the fact that you didn't acquire Nolan Arenado, who, again, good defender. This is a younger player who's not going to put up the stats, probably the same offensive stats Arenado's going to put up, though. Maybe Arenado's average will be higher, but probably the same power stats, plus you get an elite glove, and he's not the same age as Arenado. I think this is going to be a good move, and I like seeing what you can get out of Ryan McMahon with a full year now.
Right.
Do you think Cody Bellinger should be one of the players that they expect to improve next year?
I thought that was funny. We took this from an article on Yankees.com, MLB.com about 3 Yankees who, they expect to do better. And it's like, it's Cody Bellinger. Like,
me and Stacey were texting back and forth, like, they just gave Cody Bellinger $150 million. Are they really looking for an improvement? Like, they hope he's the same player. If he gets better, wonderful. But like,
that'd be great.
Yeah, it's not their season next year, and their success is not contingent on Cody Bellinger improving as a player.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. Yeah, I think I think we need to worry about guys like the aforementioned Austin Wells. I would like to see him bounce back in 2026. When he gets back from his injury, I'd like to see Anthony Volpe figure out what kind of player he is in his 4th season.
I'm going to give you one more when we get back for segment 3. One more player that I think could be a huge X factor if he improves.
Ooh, all right. Well, coming up next, we'll find out who Brian's other X factor is.
Guys, you know this. Hiring is not just about finding someone that's willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates that match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move, because instead of hoping for the right person that stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria like skills, certifications, and location. Now, if I were hiring, I wouldn't just want somebody who can help. I'd want somebody with real experience who can jump right in. That's what I love about Indeed. It can get specific and target exactly what you need. And with sponsored jobs, your post gets seen by candidates who are actually a fit. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed's data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show will get $75 in sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed. Stacey, I said before that there is a player that I think could be a huge X factor if he improves on his stuff. Camilo Doval. Out of the bullpen. He could be a massive piece. Remember, this is a guy who throws 100 miles an hour and has great stuff around the league, known for having great stuff. If he can get back to his normal form, he wasn't great last year and kind of got forgotten about. They got saved by Bednar being as good as Bednar was. This is a closer type pitcher. If you have Doval and Bednar as a back-to-back 8 to 9, that's a really, really good back end of your bullpen.
Yes.
We have to discuss this. Framber Valdez signed to the Tigers. Truth be told, we're recording this late on Wednesday night, right before we went on the air. 3 years, $115 million. That's just over $38 million a year. He's 32. He gets the highest AAV ever for a left-handed pitcher, which I think is a little aggressive, to be honest with you. It's also the highest contract ever for a Latin American pitcher. I don't hate this move from a Tiger perspective. I think it's a good move. I think it's really awesome to pair him up with at the top of your rotation with Tarik Skubal. So I don't hate it at all from that perspective. What I do hate from that perspective is the fact that they're toying around in court with Tarik Skubal on what they're going to do with the arbitration, trying to cheap out and get less money out of him. But then you go out and give Framber Valdez $38 million. And here's the thing. They're not doing this as an insurance policy in case Tarek Skubal leaves. If that were the case, they would have given Valdez like a 7-year deal to keep him there long term. They only gave him a 3-year contract. So he signs for 3 years from ages 32 to 35, which is definitely not what Valdez wanted, because no pitcher wants to sign till they're 35, because now you're in a kind of no man's land at 35 years old. Who's going to bring in a 35-year-old pitcher? Yeah. So that's and plus he signed this late in the offseason for a reason. He was clearly looking for more. The most he was getting was 3 years, and that's where he wound up, which is fine. I don't understand why you're playing patty cake with Tarek Skubal in court with the arbitrator to try and get less money. If there's a guy in the league right now, and there's maybe you can count these guys on one hand, but if there's 5 guys in the league right now that can kind of name their salary, and the team that's paying them kind of can't say a thing, Tarek Skubal is one of those 5 guys.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like Aaron Judge is one of them. Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto is another one of them. Like there's other players in the league that it is name your salary, and the team that has them really can't say much. They're that good of players. Tarek Skubal is one of those guys. Tarek Skubal is one, right? 2 consecutive Cy Youngs. He's the best pitcher in the American League. I don't think it's very close, to be quite honest with you. What are we doing here? Why would you fight with this guy in court? And what is the amount of money less they're going to pay Tarek Skubal?
Right.
It's minuscule when it comes to a baseball payroll, and it's even more minuscule when you look at what they just gave Framber Valdez. Like, you can't go out there and play back and forth games with your best pitcher when you just gave Valdez a $38 million a year deal.
The timing is unbelievable.
It looks horrendous. It looks
so bad.
Awful on the Tigers. The Illich family looks so stupid here to be doing this. You cannot be given a deal. And again, I love the deal. I think it's really good for the Tigers. You get a pitcher
that's
on a 3-year deal. There was a time when 32-year-old free agent pitchers were getting like 10-year deals. And you just basically knew the last 5 years of this deal was going to be atrocious. You're paying for the first couple of years, hoping you win a World Series, and then you're just going to pay out the rest of that deal. To get a 32-year-old on a 3-year deal, again, I don't know what Valdez is doing signing this. To me, if you're Valdez, sign a 1-year deal, have a dominant year, and then go sign a long-term deal. A 3-year deal makes no sense at 32 years old. That's what he wanted. Good for him. For the Tigers, it's a great deal, but you cannot give out $38 million a year and then sit in court with the best pitcher in baseball and argue over a couple $100,000
and be like, no, we're only going to give you
dumb.
No, but it wasn't a couple $100,000.
Well, I'm saying the arbitration clauses wind up coming out to a couple $100,000 of what you're arguing in between. Now, Tarek Skubal's a different case because he's going to get the most in a while, but this is crazy argument.
But wasn't it something like crazy? Like they wanted to give him like 19 million.
Yeah. And but he was demanding, I think, like 32 million, which is again, high for an arbitration clause. But is there a world where Tarek Skubal's not worth $32 million a year?
Right. And when John Heyman was on the show, in case you didn't see it, go look it up on YouTube. He thought that they would probably end up in the middle somewhere around maybe 26. So we'll see, because I think the results of the arbitration will be coming out later today. If you're watching this on Thursday. So
it's just crazy. Going back and forth to a player like this. And again, we've stated this before on the show, and I'm not going to ever stop saying this. These things stick in players' heads. They do. When you have these long, drawn-out arbitration cases, these things stick in these guys' heads, and it doesn't look good years down the road when now you're looking for a long-term deal with Skubal. He's not going to forget stuff like this. He's just not. So, again, it's not a good look, and I don't know what they're doing giving out a deal like this.
Yeah.
So Kyle Bradish, he actually beat the Orioles in the arbitration case, which I'm not going to lie. I love seeing this kind of stuff when a player beats out the arbitration case with a team, because get out of here with the billionaires. If they're going to lose a couple $1 million, good for them. So Bradish, he'll earn $3.55 million, which is what he was asking, instead of the team's offer, which is $2.875 million. This is the kind of stuff that does annoy me, though. Like the Orioles are fighting over $700,000. This is a major league organization.
You have a new ownership. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Stop
it.
You have the money for this.
Arguing over the price of a middle American house for, Kyle Bradish is a little crazy. But that's what the Orioles tried to do. They lost. So good for them. Yeah. This was a crazy arbitration case. Isaac Paredes out of the Houston Astros, formerly top prospect in baseball, he avoided salary arbitration hearing. They agreed on Tuesday to a 1-year, $9.35 million deal. Under $10 million for a player like this hasn't necessarily panned out to the player that you thought he was going to be after the potential AL Rookie of the Year campaign, plus the way that he played coming into his career, top prospect in baseball. I think they expected a little more out of, like, again, once Altuve moves positions, once Correa is gone, once Bregman's gone, you're putting a lot of the team on his shoulders. Yeah. And he hasn't really necessarily become that superstar player yet. $9.35 million seems a little low, though, but the Astros are falling into that territory of being a team that doesn't like to spend a lot of money, which is kind of what they were previously. Right. And they've let plenty of guys go in the last couple of years, the last decade, really, that kind of make you turn your head. Like, why would this team not spend money? They're competitive every single year. They bring in money. It's weird they don't spend. And Jim Crane's got money. Yeah. So I find it very odd that he chooses not to spend. Well, yeah, but Jim Crane's like, wealthy. Well, again, you're right. All these guys are wealthy, though. How about this? IKF leaves the Blue Jays. Gone. The Blue Jays lose another superstar. He goes to the Red Sox. So he's becoming one of these guys I think that's trying to play for every single American League team. How scared were you that he was going to win the World Series for them? Terrified. I don't think the Yankees necessarily cared. But I was sitting there going, please don't make this be the it just feels like he's going to be one of those guys that just plays for every single American League East team. He's going to be Steve Pearce, basically. He's literally, he's got Yankees already on the docket. Steve Pearce, right? Eric Hinsky, who else played for most of the AL East? Right? Like Toronto. Now he's going to Boston. I'm sure at some point he'll find his way in Tampa because he reeks of Tampa. Everyone finds their way to Tampa, yeah. Yeah, he reeks of Tampa. The only one that I don't know if he'll wind up in is Baltimore. Right. So just crazy what he's wound up doing throughout his entire career. He's moving around the league. Nice player. I don't know if he's a great player. Why don't you call this next one off because you watched him more than I did? Did I? Definitely more than I did. You were alive when he played. Was I? I don't really remember much of Mickey Lolich's career because he was a winner of the 68. Well, he had 3 complete game victories for the Tigers in the 68 World Series because, back then guys threw a lot of complete games. The fact that he threw 3 complete games in a World Series is like that. There's records in baseball that for sure will never be broken ever again. There's no chance this gets broken again. No, I mean, it's one thing that he threw 3 games. He pitched 3 games. Agreed. Like guys do that now. But it's only like the Garrett Coles that do that. Yeah. But think about and how much allure it is of what Madison Bumgarner did. Right when he just came in relief and pitched in 4 games in the World Series and was incredible and helped them win that World Series. This guy pitched 3 complete games in a World Series. Think about how insane that sounds. Yeah. If you look at old Baseball Reference guys and you see how many complete games a lot of pitchers, it wasn't the same as it is now. Now you're lucky if a guy gets through 6 without the manager being like, all right, let's go to the bullpen. Even if the guy's only thrown 80 pitches, they're itching to get to the bullpen, where back then these guys were throwing 20 complete games a year and starting 40 times. I can only imagine. He also pitched the legendary Game 7 in that series, where he pitched a 1-run complete game appearance to help the Tigers win the World Series over the Cardinals in '68. Funny about that, though, think about when we play the World Series now, the actual physical dates and when we play the World Series nowadays. Stacey, October 2nd to October 10th of 1968 is when that World Series is played. Early October. There wasn't an ALCS, right? It was just the 2 straight to the World Series. Yeah. The World Series. So that's really the other thing. If you brought back a guy who played in the 50s, because most of them are the majority of them are gone. There might be 3 guys left on Earth who played in the 50s. If you brought them back now and showed them all the rounds that these guys have to play, they'd be like, oh, I'm glad I didn't have to do that. Yeah, right. So games 2, 5, and 7 of the 68 World Series, a 1.67 ERA and 21 strikeouts over 27 innings. So he put the ball in play a lot too. And so when I'm doing that, Mickey Lolich passes away at age 85. Just one of the great World Series performances ever that kind of gets lost to history after what Bumgarner did and all those kind of guys. So rest in peace to Mickey Lolich. What an unbelievable historical figure in baseball history. Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to Locked On Yankees. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Yankees to get all of the latest updates. You can also follow us on Instagram at Locked On Yankees, all one word.
You can follow us on TikTok at LockedOn_Yankees. And if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is just for you. You get Locked On Yankees ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonyankees.supercast.com to join the club, or click on the QR code up in the corner of your screen if you're watching on YouTube. For those of you watching us on YouTube, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB with Sully. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Ryan McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow for Fan Mail Friday.